What's up, my freedom-loving friend? The video you're about to watch is a short clip taken from Lies You Can Trust, my weekly live stream show only on Rumble. Tune in, by the way, Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. Now enjoy this clip. Have you ever thought to yourself, maybe Big Pharma does not have my best interest at hand? Maybe they put our health in jeopardy for their bottom line and profit to make us consume more of their drugs that maybe have help at times, maybe do harm other times. Maybe they do more harm more of the time. Well, what if you found out the makers of Ozempic, a European company that you'll see in just a second, which, by the way, in Europe, based on what you'll see, you'll learn that Ozempic is illegal in Europe, but they're selling it like hotcakes in the US. They're even looking to make Ozempic the leading treatment for teen obesity. We're going to address the root cause right now. We're not going to make the leading recommendation to treat obesity in teens exercise or eating real food. No. That's not helpful. It's definitely not profitable. So Ozempic. And what if you found out Ozempic, which is just being pushed down people's throats a lot, and people are opening their throats for it, has some rather nasty side effects? And what if you found out that most people go off Ozempic after 3 months because of non-safe and non-effective side effects? Is there any wonder why Big Pharma has paid the largest criminal fines in U.S. history? Well, Tucker Carlson recently sat down with journalist Calley Means for an episode of Tucker Carlson Today. Let's take a quick little eavesdrop on that conversation that you might find informative.
The USDA to put Lunchables in schools.
It's a top growth area for crafters. So all you need to know is that Novo Nordisk, the company that makes this drug, recently passed LVMH to become the most valuable company in Europe. They don't allow this drug for obesity in Europe.
Whoa, they're the most valuable company in Europe, yet their main product can't be sold in Europe. It's illegal. Say more, and why we should all take it.
Almost all of Novo Nordisk's revenue is coming from taking advantage of Americans. They are saying on their stock calls that all of their growth is coming from the U.S. They're taking advantage of a broken U.S. system in the United States. And when you dive into it, even people in the United States who are getting government funding, insurance funding for this drug don't have to pay for it. 30% of them go off the drug within 3 months.
30% go off this drug, Ozempic, within 3 months. Why might that be? Is that because their results are so great that they want to stop getting great results? Or is it because there's negative impacts on their health? Let's tune in and find out.
So even though they're fully being paid for it, we're being told this is a lifetime drug, there's lawsuits coming, just reported in the past couple of days, on gastrointestinal issues and stomach paralysis. The drug itself essentially is stomach paralysis.
Sounds kind of like Botox for your stomach. What could go wrong with that?
To make you not be able to process food correctly. And there's studies now saying that stomach paralysis, the really messing with your ability to digest food, actually stays after you go off the drug. So there's lawsuits now with people with severe gastrointestinal issues after coming off the drugs. Additionally, you're consistently seeing patients who go off the drugs gain the weight back. Additionally, the EU, again.
So you gain the weight back, but you keep all the gastrointestinal issues. Win-win.
And where this company is based, just launched a probe into suicidal ideation caused by Ozempic because there's so many reports of increased depression and increased suicide. The problem is where the rubber really hits the road is there is an all-out assault to convince us that this is the appropriate drug. Again, this is the target market. This is why the stocks are popping and why Wall Street's going crazy. It's the biggest TAM, the biggest target market for any drug in American history. It's 80% of American adults.
Meaning 80% of American adults are overweight.
But it's being fast-tracked. You wouldn't believe this, but the American Academy of Pediatrics recently said that they recommend this as a first line of defense for teens.
First line of defense for teens. What is it? Ozempic. Exercise isn't a first line of defense. Moving your body, eating good food, avoiding junk food, not first lines of defense. Why is that? Well, there's not. Have you ever heard of the exercise industrial complex? It's because it doesn't exist. not nearly as much money to be made with exercise. I mean, what is it? You can sell information on good ways to exercise. You can sell pieces of exercise equipment, but you can't get 80% of adult Americans on any given exercise program or piece of equipment. So let's make it the first line of defense for kids who are overweight.
And the study basing that decision for the American Academy of Pediatrics to say that every obese or overweight teen, which is 50%, should take this drug, was a 68-week study.
Well, a 68-week study, that should be long enough to show you the lifetime effects of a drug, shouldn't it? 68 weeks, that's about the human lifespan, right?
We had a 68-week study for a lifetime recommendation to 50% of teens in America to receive these injections. Just step back and think about it. Pharma is the largest spender on TV news ads. It's the largest spender. Novo Nordisk specifically is the largest spender on foundational obesity research.
They fund their own research on obesity. Shocker.
The largest spender on medical groups like the AAP. It's one of the largest funders of actual civil rights groups. So you actually can't even believe this, but Novo Nordisk is paying the NAACP to say that not supporting Ozempic is a civil rights issue.
Okay, so not supporting Ozempic brings up the social justice warriors. This is a civil rights issue. Aren't you just crusading on behalf of Big Pharma? No, this is a civil rights issue because Big Pharma told me. Well, they told the NAACP to tell me, and maybe the NCAA too. This is kind of a basketball issue because you can't play basketball very well if you're overweight. So, I mean, Big Pharma told all them to tell me that, but that's like 2 degrees of separation removed. So that basically almost never happened.
So you're racist if you're against giving kids a diabetes drug?
It's on the NAACP website, and the NAACP is a registered lobbyist for Ozempic, saying that you are a racist because there's disproportionate issues with obesity in certain communities, that you're a racist for not supporting government funding for Ozempic. We're being asked to trust Pharma.
Shouldn't we trust Pharma? I guess Kansas they do now have a lawsuit against Pfizer for false advertising, misleading claims, safe and effective. But Pfizer has paid $2.3 billion, the largest criminal fine in U.S. history. But I think we should trust them. It just feels safer to trust, right?
When 80% of the American people, their bodies are like rebelling against them with obesity, which are clearly a sign of underlying issues, where Ozempic...
No, it's just obesity. The only underlying issue that obesity is a sign of is you have an Ozempic deficiency. That's the only underlying issue with obesity, right? That's all we can look, because body positivity, that's great. By the way, I would love to hear the body positivity movement come out just railing against Ozempic. Like, that drug is hateful towards us because it's literally eliminating us. It's eliminating certain percentages of each of our bodies. That's a fat phobic drug. It eliminates fatness.
And daily, weekly shots is not the root cause. This just on its face doesn't make sense. And then you trace the corruptions. Again, Ozempic is paying off everyone. They're one of the 5 largest funders. The company itself, one of the 5 largest funders of news ads, one of the top research funders of obesity research, largest funders to university on the obesity topic. And the thing I, kind of ram home here, Tucker, is you just have to look where the money is. So if you actually look at the analyst reports that are propping up these stocks, they're assuming an increase in obesity. So you talk about all the Novo Nordisk's largest company in Europe.
It's almost like they want more obese people so they have more customers for their drug. Almost like that's what they want. But I'm sure I'm just a conspiracy theorist here.
They literally, where the money hits the road, where people are investing billions of dollars, they're assuming increased rates of obesity over the next 10 years in America. I was talking to a doctor at Harvard. They're underwriting a loan for a new obesity center where they can treat an issue of Ozempic. Those loans have projections for growth of obesity. They're not projecting that increased Ozempic is going to decrease obesity. The loans that are underpinning these medical centers, if you go to any city in the country, the biggest, most beautiful building is some kind of new pediatric, obesity center or cardiology center. the loans assume increased rates of conditions. So fundamentally, we have the largest industry in the country, healthcare, not asking, imagine a leader saying, how do we reverse obesity? How do we...
It's almost like RFK Jr. asks those good questions and, by the way, has good solutions. It's almost like that, and almost like the system routinely censors him and tries to silence him at all costs. It's almost like that.
Sure, they're not asking that. They're saying, how can we actually say obesity is not your fault? Oprah, who's involved with Weight Watchers, just apologized for preaching personal accountability over the past decades. She said it's not personal accountability. We're supporting Ozempic. Yeah, Weight Watchers has shifted from a personal accountability organization that it's been preaching for decades and is now a prescriber of Ozempic. They've totally changed because Ozempic is a better business model because you never go off of it.
Wow. So Oprah has apologized for preaching personal responsibility. She's been funded by Weight Watchers forever. And by the way, personal responsibility, I think that's a very virtuous thing for all of us to have, whether you're wanting to lose weight or do whatever, just live a good life, personal responsibility. So Oprah, speaker at the DNC, by the way, apologizes for preaching personal responsibility, and Weight Watchers shifts their business model from personal responsibility to that of a lack of personal responsibility, and therefore Ozempic is a good cure for that, because you have to have no personal responsibility aside from what little will it takes to drive to the pharmacy to refill your prescription if you're able to survive on Ozempic past 3 months without disastrous gastrointestinal side effects.
This is insane.
Tucker, I agree with you. It is insane, and insanity is born out of corruption. Especially, here's something insane. It's going to be good for you. Safe and effective. Trust us. Does Ozempic have potential good to be done? I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not really any kind of scientist, if I'm being honest with you. But having an open mind, I could imagine Ozempic has a beneficial time and place. At a certain level of obesity, your risk factors for death and disease escalate. I could imagine the risk of Ozempic could be a lighter risk than all those risk factors in extreme cases. Yet what I do know is Ozempic, good for all people at all times as the first line of defense against teenage obesity. I would dare say I can't imagine a world where that's true. That's why I think Calley Means and Tucker Carlson brought a gift of enlightenment to the world, seeing the corruption behind the company that puts out Ozempic, and where that company exists in a place where their product is not legal, but they ship it to the U.S. because they say the U.S., they farm some sheep over there. Now, real quick, a word from an important sponsor, Rumble. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have any biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. Back then, no one thought platforms would ever censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. And recently, Facebook admitted that they fell to the pressure of the Biden and Harris administration, but Rumble did not. They held the line. And because of it, Rumble is attacked daily for giving creators like me a voice to talk to you. Rumble is attacked in corporate media, and they're attacked by governments like France. And they're attacked by brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. There's no doubt, corporate America is fighting to remove free speech, but Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask of you. But if you really believe in this fight like I do, and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in the human right of free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code JP when you purchase an annual subscription. To support free speech, go to rumble.com/premium and use code JP. Like I said, if you have the means and you believe in this cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. And if you don't have the means, me and all the other creators and Rumble itself are just happy that you watch me on Rumble. Thank you.